Before Cristiano, there was another Ronaldo, the original. A Brazilian striker so fast and so lethal that defenders had nightmares. Injuries stole years of his career, and he was still the deadliest striker ever seen. His full name is Ronaldo Nazario, and in Brazil they simply called him the Phenomenon. He arrived in the mid-1990s as a teenager who already looked unlike anything before him. Picture the impossible combination. He had the pure sprinting speed of a track athlete, but he also had the close control of a tiny playmaker, the ball obeying him even at full pace. His nickname, the Phenomenon, was not marketing. It was simply what people reached for when normal words failed. Watching him in full flight, fans felt they were seeing something genuinely new. That mix broke the rules of defending. A big, powerful striker was not supposed to move like that. Defenders could not decide whether to back off his pace or close his feet. His signature move was the step over at speed. Most players slow down to trick a defender. Ronaldo did it while accelerating, leaving grown men grasping at the air behind him. At Barcelona, in a single season, he scored an astonishing number of goals, many of them solo runs from the halfway line. He was 19 and already the most feared striker alive. Coaches changed how they prepared for him. Some assigned two defenders purely to track his runs. Planning an entire defence around one striker was a rare and telling compliment. Then his body began to betray him. A series of severe knee injuries struck right as he entered what should have been his physical prime. For a player built on explosive speed, it was cruel. One breakdown was so bad it happened on the pitch during a match in front of a horrified crowd. Many feared his career was simply over. He was barely into his 20s. He endured multiple operations and long, painful recoveries. Years that should have been his best were spent in rehab. Any normal player would have quietly faded away for good. His story is also a warning about how fragile greatness is. A single joint, one vulnerable knee, nearly erased one of the finest talents ever. Bodies do not always match the gift inside them. His time in Italy showed his courage. Playing through fragile knees, he still produced brilliance against the toughest defences in the world. Every goal there came with a hidden layer of pain. But Ronaldo came back, and he chose the biggest possible stage to do it. The 2002 World Cup in Asia became the setting for one of sport's greatest redemption stories. He scored in almost every match, 8 goals in the tournament. The pace was slightly reduced, but the instinct and finishing were as deadly as ever. Brazil rode him all the way to the final. In the final against Germany, he scored both goals in a 2-0 win. The man whose career had been declared over lifted the World Cup as its top scorer. It was total redemption. Even that famous haircut became part of the legend, a deliberate distraction from an injury worry before the final. Everything about that tournament turned into folklore. His influence lives on in every big striker who dribbles like a winger. The idea that a number 9 can run at defenders, not just wait for crosses, owes a huge debt to him. Here is the part that stuns people who study him. All of that came after the injuries. Before them, at his absolute peak, he may have been even better. That is a frightening thought. Think about what football lost. A striker with a sprinter's pace, a magician's feet and a poacher's instinct all at once, robbed of several prime years by his own knees. Compare him to the great strikers who came later. Many were faster, or stronger, or more clinical. Very few combined so many elite qualities in one body the way he did. That is why so many players and coaches, when asked, name him as the best pure striker they ever saw, not the most decorated, not the longest lasting, the most complete. My honest opinion is this: at his pre-injury peak, the original Ronaldo is the greatest striker the sport has ever produced. What he became after injury only makes that claim stronger, and yet he chose how his story would be remembered, not as the tragic what if, but as the man who came back and conquered the world anyway. He rewrote his own ending. We remember him with a smile and a sigh. The smile for the goals in the 2002 triumph, the sigh for the prime years his knees quietly stole from all of us. So that is why the original Ronaldo was so deadly. He fused a sprinter, a magician, and a finisher into one striker, and stayed lethal even after injury. At his peak, simply the best there was. If you love football stories told straight, subscribe to Sports Vogue so the next one finds you. And share this with a mate who would argue about it all night, and tell us in the comments which story we should break down next. We will see you at the next one.